Hello, hello.
What's up?
Using different headphones this time. Do you have any idea how VB decides if he's going to be here or not?
No, other than he shows up when he can. And between the two of us, we usually always have the meeting recorded. That's usually how that goes. Yeah. No, at the moment, it's just us trying to make sure that everything's taken care of. That's all. What's up?
It shows you as unmuted.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Problem solved.
Problem solved.
So before anyone else gets in here and we start in 3 minutes, so I put some stuff in the chat just like a few minutes ago. Did you take a look at it, Drum?
Yeah, that's why I shared what I was using last time because I thought it was very similar.
Yeah. But what do you guys think about the format for the cadence? I'm trying to find the damn thing. So like so basically I put basically do the top three items. So like the financials. I gotta look at what I. So hey, we're having a meeting. We don't have to do a call to order or anything. But then like our consent agenda, we just go over like what we spent and if we yeah. So approving the minutes from the last meeting is what we do, and the financials and the bills. We never actually talk about any of that. We're just like, hey, did everyone see this? And we're like, yep, we saw it. Okay, pass it. Um, so just kind of do at the beginning the financials that we always do every week, and then Lanzer, you put the minutes. Did you put that post in there to approve the minutes from last week? Is that what you were wanting us to look at?
No, the ones that I put in last night were the minutes for today.
But we don't have any minutes for today because we haven't done anything, right? I think we're
Yeah,
using different
Yeah,
terms for the same
it's
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
pre-production of the minutes.
No, this right here. The minutes that where
Yeah,
people probably put stuff that they want to talk about in the lower left. All of that. Those are minutes.
Okay, so in my world, the minutes would be the previous slide from the last time, and then on the right-hand side under discussion, that would be where we typed the minutes for today. So that's on a little.
Yeah, this is what we want to talk about for today. This I put in just in case I'm not able to share my screen, but I am able to now. So this was to have the conversation of what I wanted to talk about, and then whatever else anybody else want to talk about.
So you already pre-populated
Yeah, that's what we do every week.
your part.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. I know we pre-populate the proposed agenda items, but I guess I
yeah.
didn't
That
usually
way, I expected to be in a car right now and just listening and talking when I could. So I didn't want to try and do all that and this at the same time.
I was just confused as to why there was already pre-populated discussion items. That's
Yeah.
fine.
And if we don't get to it, then it's gonna, get removed and move somewhere else.
Okay, that's clarifies my confusion. Thanks.
Yep, no
Okay,
problem.
do you want me to start or did somebody already start it?
Yeah, I already
The
started it.
event?
I started
Okay,
it. It popped up on
nice,
my little
cool.
thing. All right. So if you have an idea how you want to do it, go ahead and take us away.
Yeah, sounds good. Should we try to tag Bodhi?
Sure. Tag them.
Yeah. I haven't heard Signal yet. Signal, are you alive?
Yeah, he just
I'm
posted
alive, my friend. I'm running around like a crazy person. We've got a bunch of people running through our house today, so I'm sprinting all over the place and stressing and freaking out. But I'm happy to be here.
That sounds alive.
Signal's always happy to be here.
That's funny. Cool. Well, yeah, let's just get started on this we're gonna try a new format. Thanks for being here, Trevor, and then anyone else listening live or recorded. We're just kind of winging this thing here as we go, trying to find a format that works for everybody. So we're still gonna do meeting minutes and notes and everything. Lancer's gonna take care of that, but we're just gonna kind of shuffle stuff around. So do we have the financial where we're at easily available? I know Signal, you usually do that, but you're running around.
Slide 4.
Do you have the link to? Okay, sorry, I've got 8 things going on, and that's the updated one. So cool. I don't know the change from last week, but basically it shows that we're making money, right?
That's probably something we
Let's
should ask about is if they can give us a dashboard where it shows the change every week.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Cool, and I know that.
Okay.
Yeah, he's letting some people into the house. No problem, Signal. You don't have to be doing this right now. But yeah, does anyone else? Can you guys see Lanzer's stream? It's struggling for me. Can you see
I
it,
haven't
Jerome?
been able to load the stream.
Okay, I think something's going wrong again, Lancer.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Let's wait a second for that to pop back up. There it is. Yep, I see it now. Cool.
Wait,
You want to pop that slide back up real quick? Yeah, that's your Discord that we're
Oh.
seeing. Oh,
Lord.
oh shoot.
My
here we go.
seed phrases.
There we go. Okay. So yeah, basically we're still making money. Did the rentals go up quite a bit? Yeah,
376.
376. That's better than 5 or 2 or whatever it was. So
$50.
yeah, cool. So yeah, that's just kind of quickly the overview snapshot. And then part of what I want to do with this is see if we can talk about things that the AI can pick up on more. And so, like, if somebody does a TLDR of the meeting and you upload this slide, the TLDR will show it. So that's why I'm wanting to spend a little bit of time on that. Also,
Do you have an
I
AI
haven't played
going?
with it. No, but what I do, like I did that TLDR and I uploaded the video and I uploaded a few slides and then it read those slides and it watched the video and it gave a more in-depth TLDR. So
Really?
that's why I
Okay.
wanted. Yeah,
What was it called?
pretty. Well, it's that notebook.
Oh, Notebook LM. Okay.
Yeah. So, and
What
then like
you
if
fed it?
VB or
You fed it my YouTube video or VB's YouTube video?
Yep, I used one or the other, and then I also uploaded PDFs of this slide and then of the actual minutes when we were done.
Ah, I see.
Yeah,
Nice.
it works
That's pretty
pretty
cool.
slick. So
I've never
yeah, so
tried
that's
that.
kind of what why I'm wanting to talk about this just a little bit. And then I was also, I don't know if it does it or not, but Emperor is speaking right now. And then maybe if you can say your handle, and I would be curious to know if AI can discern who's talking when. So Emperor's talking now. Do you guys want to go and say your handle and say you're talking?
This is Lanzer talking right now.
Drum. You can.
Hey, AI bot. Carlos is a man of few words.
It's got the blue background. I guess whenever you talk, maybe we can
Car-
say it. I'm just trying to do
Carlos
an experiment.
AI bot Carlos is the guy with the mustache and the pink background with a cloud over his face. And Signal is the one that looks like a really serious dude and everything's burning in the background. Let's see if it does it.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll be curious to know how this goes.
All right.
So that's that. Um, what I wanted to, I'm hoping Drum you come back, but dang
Oh,
it,
I
I
never
really wish
left. I'm
Bodie was
here.
here. Okay,
He
so
was
that
just
was
ignoring
Drum. That
us.
was Drum's voice. I thought, yeah, cool. So then the next thing I wanted to do was go into individual reports if anybody had any or had anything they wanted to talk about later. This is where I was really hoping Bodie would show up. And Signal, you can jump in whenever you can. I know you're letting people in your house. So, Drum,
And
you did
Emperor,
some stuff this week.
that financial slide still shows an improvement versus last week. Like every week is you're seeing an improvement on the income. That's insane. It's been like what
Yeah, it's awesome.
6-8 weeks in a row. Every week
I
is
love it.
higher.
That's too cool. And Lanzer, I'm not watching the stream, but I'm hoping you're still taking the information that we're doing and using it under your accomplishments tag and some of that. We're just trying to unofficially do it. So
I don't know what
I still
accomplishments to
value what,
record.
yeah, that's what we're about to start.
Okay, got it. Yep.
So I know, Drum, do you kind of want to go over some of the stuff that you did and what?
So los Raspi P passed a couple days ago. I can tell you exactly. That was the 12th of June. So that PIP should be getting funding, and he should be moving full steam with his docu series that I think he was gonna do anyway. But that is done, and there has been those disbursements made to the Theo project as well. And we have been recording all that in on the PIP accounting spreadsheet. And we added now a transaction ID column to add all those, so there's record of everything that has been sent.
Perfect.
So there was a La Raspi first two disbursements. The Iris Bounty has been funded, and the multi-sig has been set and tested as 3 out of 6 signatures needed to pass any motion. And I think that's about it this week.
Okay, did you want to talk about anything later in the meeting? If there's time, what would be important to you?
I think we should formalize some rules with disbursement in the knowledge base, given our experience with the foundation and the authors and all that. But that would be better to discuss it with Buddy if he comes here in a little bit.
He's here now.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yep, Bodie's
that
here.
was.
Okay.
I'm
Hi,
glad
Buddy.
you touched on that. That is exactly what I want to talk about too.
Anything else that you can think of right now, Drum, besides the pips that are up for discussion?
No, other than the peeps that we
Okay.
have ready now.
Okay, and we can move on to Bodie. Bodie, we're kind of doing a hybrid of what we do. Lanzer's still taking the notes and minutes and doing his part, but we're just kind of doing it a little differently. So I just had Drum talk about what he did this week and accomplishments, so Lancer can record those, and then anything we want to talk about later in the meeting. And I did tag you, and I told you that you had to be quick like a bunny rabbit in your in this report and what you want to talk about. So can you just give a quick 2-minute
Yeah.
overview of
We
what happened this week and what you want to talk about?
was PIP 12 Theo or no we funded the Theo PIP. I don't know if that was added in there. I just hopped
That's
in
14.
right.
Yeah.
So 14, the first half of it is funded. And then requested that Santi give, what is it, PIP 15? No, 16, whichever one the media pip is, Lord Raspy, the one that just passed.
17.
We sent in a request for them to get added into the disbursement. We gotta wait for Santi to add them in, but I'd like to see if there's a way that we could bypass that, but I can kind of do that on my own time. So that we can just tag them
Cool.
and get them in directly. But yeah, that's
It
it.
shouldn't take long with Santi. Santi's always extremely responsive.
Yeah, that's true. It's not a big deal.
Anything else that you want to note for the record that you got done this week? I mean, what you did on that took way more energy than any of us expected. So
Oh yeah, it was unbelievable. This the volatility, it's been kind of something I've worried about in the back of my mind, but this week obviously, it's just one of those weeks. Oh, looks like Sanchi just got back to us. So, there's add that to the you could add that to the page that we've initiated the disbursement with Raspy.
perfect. Okay. Anything you would like to talk about later after we talk about the pips in this meeting?
Yeah, well, I just want to, back up what Drum said. I think we really need to kind of dive into the some of the nuanced scenarios and kind of like just really quickly we talked about just adding the words in like worth of
And we
Atlas,
can,
right?
Bodhi, we can talk about that when we actually get to it. I'm trying to keep this initial part
Yeah.
pretty tight.
I'm just suggesting that we kind of go in and imagine the different scenarios and proactively account for them within the knowledge base. So really spend some time going through that to avoid these issues, because once they hit, they're a nightmare.
Yeah, no, I agree. Okay, any other pressing thing that you can think of for this meeting that we'll potentially talk about?
Yeah. Let me see if
Basically, we're filling
No,
out the action
no,
items.
I think we're good. Yeah,
Okay,
just that.
cool. I'm assuming Signal can't talk still. That's okay. So I know, Lanzer, you have some things. Did you have an update and then your action items for this meeting?
Yeah, I completed the RFP to PIP process that we can go over today, and that was what we discussed last week or the week before about the things that we want to do as an RFP within the ecosystem. So I put that on the agenda item for us to talk later on.
Cool.
Oh, yeah, I finished that last night. I didn't put that on here.
I'm back, guys. My bad.
Cool. We're just going over Drum, Bodhi, and Lanzer just did it. Have you've been listening the whole time, sort of, right?
Yes, well, just letting a bunch of people into my house for a listing. So I apologize. I was having conversations in the background also.
Nope, no worries. So we're just going over individually what we did this week, if anything, and then what you would like to talk about today if we have time for all of these items. So I know you did some stuff this week.
Did I? Yeah,
You posted-
I posted some things, but that doesn't feel like enough of, I genuinely feel like this week I let the DAO down in terms of, what I campaigned on, what I said I would be doing. Like, work's been crazy, life's been crazy. I'm selling a house. My company's going through some issues. So, like, I've had
Hey,
a
man.
lot of days
It's all
where,
good.
like, I literally did nothing but sleep and work. But I didn't do enough for the DAO this week. So I don't really have anything to hold up. I'm working
Don't
hard,
worry,
but I'm not working hard enough for the people of Gallia.
I think you're doing
don't worry.
just fine. I think you're doing
Wait
just
till we
fine.
get some. Wait
Yeah,
till we get to my recap.
you have been making the announcements and keeping up the tags and all this stuff. So yeah, you're being
That's
too hard on yourself.
that's why we're all here
Yes.
to support each other.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. anything pressing that you think we need to talk about today?
No, I'm excited off of the conversations that we had last week on like the new formats and like things that we're going to be trying out. I think that's going to be really interesting and fun, for the people that tune into these and follow us. Really excited that now we've got funding and approval for Iris Bounty, so that we can finally start funding some events and having some parties and like let's crank some vibes up, in here. And it's getting the air's getting a little stiff. Let's get some parties, let's get some social media going. Let's get some activity here, and I'm excited about the documentary film proposal and like ecosystem media blitz passing, and it seems like a lot of gears are finally starting to turn on some things that we've already approved. But so like I'm excited to see the fruits of that. Like we really haven't seen the impact of Iris Bounty yet, actually being implemented. So it's going to be cool to see that. Really excited to see, what if anything comes with us rolling up like DAO casters, working groups, those individual items. I think it's an exciting time to be in Star Atlas, despite the broader landscape in crypto, and it's definitely up to us a little bit in this room to help perk things up, especially with some of these exciting proposals that we have coming. So if anyone has any ideas, anyone has anything they want to pitch, please, we want you to want to do things here.
Cool. And then to my part, I'm watching you as you go here, Lanzer. So not only did we create the multi-sig wallet, well, we didn't, Autonoma funded it, but we also put the application out there. For those that didn't pay attention or listening to the TLDR, you can officially apply for those funds. And there is a link under the announcements to the Google Doc. So please start applying for that money if you have an event or meetup that you want to host. So even though it might seem like, especially Signal, you're too hard on yourself, but it might seem like we didn't do a lot. There has been a lot going on. So I look forward to this TLDR, how this AI bot's going to take all this. So the only
like 5
my
things
big
just
thing
right there.
yeah, it's crazy. I love it. My big thing, I do want to go over as many of the pips as we can as a group. That's my big thing that I really want to get done, and that's kind of the format I'm proposing we take. We spend time actually going over the pips, maybe line by line. I'm open to suggestions. I don't want it to take forever personally, but we found as a group that sometimes just doing it individually on our own, we miss some things. And so even if we can at least get one done this week live and get feedback line by line, so we're all on the same page and we're all reading the same thing, maybe we as a collective can catch some things that we haven't in the past. So that's my big thing I want to talk about. So no, absolutely not. Cool. So I guess I'll ask you guys, we're 20 minutes in. Do we want to spend a certain amount of time on PIP reviews and then save a certain amount of time for some of these action items? Like, what's more important, talking about these PIPs that are in draft, formalizing the disbursement, or the RFP to PIP process? Or can we do some of this offline?
In theory, you can do everything offline, but whatever is gonna be, better to discuss among ourselves, we can go over that.
Okay, so definitely discuss the PIP, at least the one. Signal, I see you unmuted. What do you got?
Yeah, I was going to say, we do have a couple of things that are in draft that, really, they should be pretty darn ready to vote on that I'd certainly like to touch back on, meaning like I'd like to figure out like DAO casters, working groups, missions and values. Did we actually get like a draft yet? I didn't see one. I was thinking VB was in here briefly, but did we actually get a draft yet on like the expansion for
Yes. We have the
Star Atlas
expansion, and
Common
we have
event?
the economic reporting.
Yeah,
So
Oh, wonderful. So they're actually at draft already, meaning like
correct.
wonderful.
Yep.
So I
So
apologize
what?
for being behind all this, but I'd love to discuss them.
Cool. So what I was thinking, so we have three that are kind of important. I mean, they're all important. Everybody's important. Unique snowflakes. But we've got Bodie's that he proposed last time with the working groups. I think that's really, really close. I don't think that would take very long. And then we
can
have
do that
the one that do it what?
We can do that one through chat.
Okay, good. I'll
Yeah.
cross that one off. So then we have the one that VB put, and then we have the Steven Sabal one. Those two are pretty new. Do we have any ones that are more important before that besides Dowcasters and the values? I didn't think we did.
No, those are the only two peeps right now hot.
Okay, so let's spend some time talking about those. Which one came in first? I think it was it VB's or
Yeah, the extension.
marketing and merch expansion for Gamecom. So should we just, how do you guys feel about just going through that kind of line by line? Do we need to do that right now, or do you just want to have some dead air time and sit?
Let's do it.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think
so
we should.
okay. How about I just start reading it here? So Shattuck's actually posted it, and I'm not watching the stream anymore, but it's under PIP drafts, Star Atlas Comet marketing and merch expansion for anyone that wants to follow along in our Discord. Titles, fine. And I'm just going to keep going and just kind of, I don't want to say blow through it, but I'm going to go pretty fast. And you guys just interrupt me if you see something you don't like. So
yeah, I'll read along with you in the background.
Perfect. This proposal seeks funding of, and this is important, 6,078 euro in Atlas equivalent from the DAO Treasury to expand the reach and impact of the already approved BIP 8. It'll take place when it takes place in Germany. The proposal includes branded merchandise, t-shirts, bags, printed materials, flyer stickers, Epic game key cards with a capped print budget, reusable event banners, and high-quality photo and video documentation. All costs will be invoiced based on actual receipts and maximum limits per category. A 10% Atlas buffer is included to hedge price volatility with a 7-day right to review from the recipient. The goal is to increase visibility, improve onboarding, and elevate the DAO's physical presence at major events. I like that he, and maybe Bodhi, you can chime in since you're the most in the weeds on this, is that 6,078 euro in Atlas equivalent and that part of it in the summary. I guess he goes into it later on, doesn't he? Let's just leave this as the summary. As a summary, does this look good?
Yeah, and looking at the specifications later on, everything there with the price, like the euros, that all checks out. It's well within budget, and I love that he has the buffer in there. That is awesome.
Perfect. Okay, so that's the summary. The motivation, I don't think we need to actually read it, but there's going to be 300,000 attendees, unique opportunity. He wants to transform the event to a visible, lasting milestone for the community. So I think that's the motivation is pretty well spelled out there too. We can get into the important parts. So specifications. So 4.1 definitions for key terms. It's nice that he did this. Star Atlas Comet. That's the community-led meetup at Gamescom in Cologne. Launched in 8. Intended as a recurring DAO event. Cool. DAO visibility package. That means the bundle of merchandise, marketing materials, and media production. The Epic Game Key, we know what that is. The Star Atlas Comet 2025 Unibag hashtag. I see no problem with those definitions. Print materials, flyers, business cards with Epic Games keys. So that's the 3D version of the game. And sticker sheets will be printed with a combined budget of 500 euro. The exact quantity will be determined by the PIP project team based on best pricing and design needs, approximately 1,000 of each item. Cost will not exceed the budget. I love this, and will be invoiced strictly based on actual receipts. Cards will include a unique game key. I think that's pretty succinct. Any thoughts on any of this? If you do, just interrupt me. So
Yeah,
merch
I'd
up
like
to
to
100.
know what category is this in?
What do you mean?
What category of PIP does this fall under?
Funding.
Funding
Wait.
request.
What?
It's
No,
an
no, no.
extension to PIP 8 that was a live event. So it's a live event. They're just now asking for an extension to get more merchandise and stuff.
To
That you're
expand
asking?
to expand the reach and impact of the already approved PIP 8.
Correct.
So they didn't get funded fully in PIP 8?
The PIP 8
They got
funded.
funded for a community event, but not to advertise at Gamescom.
Not
So
for
they
like
want
the merch.
so they want to increase the scope of PIP 8 with this.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
They want to go from just hosting a really cool party, like in the vicinity of Gamescom, to hosting a really cool party and aggressively marketing Star Atlas in the vicinity of Gamescom.
Okay.
I do want to mention one thing here, because there was some verbiage introduced. This idea that they will only be requesting the amount that they actually spend, depending on like how many shirts they are getting or cards or whatever. We need to make sure that the specifications are consistent. I was just looking through and I didn't have time, but we need to make sure that as we go on, that we see that kind of echoed in the specifications, because it kind of seems like that it's just a request for the base amount. But yeah, that's just something I want to mention as we're moving on.
Was PIP 8 and is this an ecosystem fund, PIP? No, it couldn't be.
Yes,
It's 6,000 euro. Oh, wait, yeah, never mind. I translated
that's
that wrong.
within margin.
Yeah, I gotcha. Okay, so this is an ecosystem fund. Is that important that we identify every time?
That was one of the recommendations that I have written down on my notes, was for them to change the request to be from the DAO Treasury to the ecosystem fund.
Okay.
Because one of the top lines, they're asking for money from the DAO Treasury. It should,
Yeah, I
it
agree.
should say.
I mean,
I
they're both true, to be honest.
Yeah, they are both
Yeah,
true. But
yeah.
one makes it easy for us to approve, and the other one means we have to go through some extended review with Automata.
And what I mean is that they don't need to state it in the PIP to make it qualifying for ecosystem.
Yeah, that's fair.
Does
That's
it,
fair. But do we know our own
does it make it more
process for
clear?
doing that? Do we know our own process for doing that?
During
Uh-oh.
A good thing?
We would still pass it through the ecosystem fund. It's just a verbiage. It's basically a recommendation. It's not a requirement for them to make that change to just that one word. Just change it from DAO Treasury to ecosystem fund. If they didn't, we would still process it the exact same way. It's just a recommendation.
So
There would
when
just be potentially more confusion if they didn't. So we can't require them. It could be a suggestion. I like that.
so when
Um,
we review this and we're looking at are we just looking at PIP 4 and the list that they have there, and we're just comparing it to see if it fits, and that's what we determine is ecosystem fund? Is that how we do that?
no, basically right now ecosystem fund is the amount limit that we can spend on a PIP before it has to go to a different process with the foundation.
No. What I mean is, us determining that it is ecosystem fund. Are we just using the list in PIP 4?
Yeah, if it's within the budget limit, it qualifies for ecosystem fund.
I think that would probably be the threshold, Lancer. If it was above the requested amount, it would automatically get kicked into not ecosystem. And if it's under, then it is.
Well,
That would
that,
be a
and
pretty good
also
trigger.
there's 4 bullet points of what types of efforts you're allowed to fund out of the ecosystem fund. And
Yeah,
that's
this is one of them. Yeah,
yeah.
like merch at an event for sure.
Hosting community in-person or virtual meetups is number 2.
Those are examples. He said that could be funded under the proposal. These are just examples, practical examples to give context to the PIP.
Oh, that could be funded.
Yeah.
So then, does that mean that we can kind of induct anything?
We have specific things that we can't do. We can't affect the economy. And we
Sure,
can't
sure,
affect.
sure. Yeah, I got
Yeah.
that part.
I think that's the threshold and the amount. I think
Okay.
those
I
are
mean,
really.
there's a large
We
degree of
also
common
cannot
sense.
make anyone fall in love.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's a large degree of common sense and what aligns with the DAO, goals, and we kind of have them clear.
Okay. So then the real reason I brought that up is to get to this question. Should at the start of every PIP draft that we take a vote on if this PIP is an ecosystem fund PIP or if we feel it's not. And if it is, then we all say yes, and then I mark it on the meeting minutes and that's over.
Yeah, that would be the first feedback we would give. Like, hey, just so you know, this is outside the ecosystem fund, so
Okay,
it's
cool.
not a no,
Cool.
but it's a completely different way of dealing with it, and it doesn't depend on us at all. So
Okay. Does anyone disagree this is not a ecosystem fund?
This is an ecosystem fund PIP.
I'm
Correct.
asking
He
if
was just
anyone
asking if
in this
anybody
room
disagrees.
disagrees with it on the council.
Nope.
Sorry.
We all
No.
agree.
All right. I know I made it on the
For
meeting
clarity,
minutes.
I will respond no.
Okay, cool. All right, good to go. I'm good. Go ahead.
Cool. So they're doing some print stuff. Merchandise up to 110 shirts, 110 drawstring bags, registered event attendees, including 10% buffer of giveaways to volunteers. Designs will include DAO branding and a partner section for sponsor logos. So it's just the Star Atlas DAO and other sponsor logos. It's not autonomous, not Star Atlas. It's the DAO. Is that how everyone reads it?
What section are you in?
Merchandise. The second bullet point, designs will include DAO branding and a partner section for sponsor logos.
Under 4.2. Okay, I see that.
Who are these sponsors?
I don't know. That's why I brought it up. Oh, real quick, before we go too far in this, which one of us is going to give Shattuck, or was it Shattuck? The author Shattuck, who's going to give him the feedback from this meeting? Who's officially responsible?
Right now.
I volunteer
only thing we have
Carlos.
yeah, I can
Oh.
give the feedback.
He's the secretary. The council secretary.
I just want to make sure somebody's doing it.
All right. I'm recording the meeting minutes, so you can just hand it to him, Carlos.
I'd like to get some clarification from them on this partner section. That's kind of a,
The t-shirts they're doing them,
Something
okay.
to bring up.
Yeah.
It
It's not
doesn't
that they're
not,
getting, money from Nike and
but
Putting Apple on it.
double dipping with the council.
but
All right,
that's not
yeah, it's
necessary.
not a big
Yeah,
deal.
I think the community will probably have those same questions. I mean, we can't tell them what to do and not to do in that regard necessarily, but I think the community, it would be good if the community asks for them to have an answer. So nothing official from us, but good feedback, I would think.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're going to do some banners, two reusable roll-up banners with timeless branding, no date, suitable for future DAO comment events. I like it. I'd be personally, as a polis holder, I'd be curious who's going to actually hold on to those and where you're going to store them, because we ran into that in the past. But I think it meets our definition or our requirements. Media coverage, one person set up for the Star Outs community, professional senior content creator, 8 hours on-site documentation, including 50 to 80 edited videos, 1 to 2 minute after movie with music, subtitles, intro branding, and DAO CTA delivery within 4 weeks of post event. That falls into our allowable actions. Onboarding measurement, QR codes, and Discord invites will be tracked. Epic Games Key, I'd be curious to know who's going to track those. I'm sure they have somebody. Epic Game Key redemptions provided, convention site, social media engagement measured via hashtag. I think that meets our requirements. Stakeholder impact, go ahead.
I was just saying it's looking good so far.
Cool. 5.1, if the PIP succeeds, so this is the stakeholder impact. I can't remember who said that. Positive impact for the community. I don't know that we have to go through this line by line, but
No,
a stronger
yeah,
identity.
this is fine.
Yeah,
Potential
positive
risk.
impact for the DAO. Potential risks for the community. Uneven benefit for the online versus on-site members. Okay, whatever. For project team, logistical overhead. Yep, they're taking that on themselves. For the DAO, which is where we come in. So the game key misuse or non-redemption tracked and monitored, currency fluctuations, but they've already addressed that by mitigating with 10% Atlas buffer. I mean, it all fits within our guidelines.
Yeah.
Implementation details, the timeline, June, they're gonna design, July, printing, August is the event execution, and then by September, this is where we would probably come in, post-production reporting and content release. So I don't know that we need a terrible amount of detail on that, but by September 30th, they're gonna need to report back to the DAO so we can report back to our people, and then we'll have the deliverables and they'll release the content. So I'm happy with that as the representatives of the DAO. The accountability for, the polis holders to get something. I personally like that. So it's going to be Kawimi, Vivi, and Shaddix, which I love that there's 3 people. We don't need to go all of that. Challenge and mitigation. I don't know. They just have challenge dash mitigation. I don't know if that's redundant.
I think they're just showing the format.
Challenge. Challenge
that's
is the
key.
thing.
Oh, they're just showing their
The
format.
first part is challenge,
Yeah.
the second part is the mitigation for that challenge.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. Thank you. So delayed production, order early, local suppliers, efficient volunteers, recruitment via Discord and call to action. It will be nice that they have a ton of people there. They said, I think VV said the other day that they have like 30 or 60 people. I can't remember what they
30,
said.
30 were already, registered.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. So the key misuse, so controlled distribution one-time codes. Unwilling photo subjects opt out at check-in, privacy signage. I'm not sure we have any control over any of this, but if I were them, it would probably, that's going to be an interesting thing to navigate. I guess if they don't navigate it properly, and I'm sure if Bohemian was here, he would bring up some of this stuff, insurance and all of that. But the DAO, we don't have insurance, we don't have any of this, we have no control over any of it. But if we use somebody's photo and they get mad and try to have retribution, they would come back to a DAO, which a DAO is nothing. But I guess that's probably something that when we send it to the foundation to ask them about, or what are your guys' thoughts as a liability? Do we have any say? Do we mention anything?
I don't think we are that liable, to be honest.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't think so either.
It would be the foundation to bring that up if they felt so.
Yeah.
Perfect. I'm fine with that. Any other 2 guys fine with it or not fine with it?
I like this post-processing part because I didn't realize they were producing a content out of this as part of the PIP. That is nice.
Yeah, that's so cool. Okay, I think for our part, we're going to keep moving on.
Yeah.
Timeline, we don't need to go over the timeline. They just did that. Is that redundant? The timeline overview under implementation details and then under timeline again?
The timeline is just mostly to understand the dates and how long it takes and when is the expected beginning and end of all this process. So I think it's on point.
It's okay to be there twice under implementation details and under timeline?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
It's a little bit redundant, but he does go into more details in a separate section. Yeah.
Perfect.
The,
So we're
the,
good
the
with
whole
them then?
idea is that once you know the structure of the peeps, you know that 7 always is timeline, and you can go to any peep and go to point number 7, and you're gonna see exactly what you want to see.
Perfect. Okay, so like if we had an agent looking to see if somebody had completed something or emailed us or whatever, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I like it. And you put some dependencies. I think we're fine with all of that. So he broke down the cost, and I don't know anything about euros. I don't really.
It's good. It's within the amount.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Well,
yours just a little more than the dollar, but not a lot. It's like 15% more.
Okay. So we don't really have any control over any of that costing and have no right to really question it as a council. So
But
I
it's
think we
very
just,
detailed, and you know exactly how much they're gonna spend on what.
yeah. And yeah, so they put the subtotal of 55.25 and then added 10%, which is 553 euros. So they're requesting from the DAO Treasury 6078. So to me, that's as clear as it could possibly be. And then they spell out the 10% buffer is calculated per invoice. And I think that's great. This is something to probably vocalize. The recipient reserves a 7-day right to review and verify whether the received Atlas amount matches the value of the invoice within the buffer range. In case of a shortfall, the recipient is entitled to file a complaint and request a top-up. Bodhi, what do you think about that based on the conversations telegram?
yeah, I think that in general that 10% buffer is, he's ultimately requesting up to 6,600, but basically he's requesting 6,078 euros. So he had that buffer there of 500 bucks or whatever. Is killer for volatility, because then he can just we just default to sending him the base amount, and then if something happens, the price drops on him or whatever, then he's got a built-in buffer. I think that we should ask everybody to do this, because that happens all the time. So it's
Yeah, it's a recommendation. At the end of the day, like I was saying the other day, it is what it is. We're in Web3. We cannot control the market, so people needs to be aware. And if anything, they should provide something like this, or try to time stuff with the market. That's a more complex situation there. But yeah,
Wait, I
yeah, I
think I
mean,
read this different than you all. So that second sentence, in case of a shortfall, the recipient is entitled to file a complaint to request a top up. So that VB is asking to request a top up within the 10%, or if it goes above 10%, he can still request a top up.
if within the 10%.
Oh,
I
okay.
think he's essentially saying, yeah, like if it dips, like you should be able to reach out because their costs are going to be fixed, in dollars.
Yeah. Okay, if it's in the 10%, then I have no issue with this statement. I thought I read it as if it's above 10%, he's putting in a thing here to go above it.
Yeah.
But,
The
all
one
right,
thing I
cool.
wanted to The one thing I wanted to point out here, though, is that he has a lot of up to statements. T-shirts up to 110 T-shirts at $20 a piece. But then he's requesting the maximum amount of T-shirts. He's requesting for the 110. So that was what I said earlier, where we needed to keep an eye on this, because he has verbiage like, okay, well, we need this much of the ability to request this much, but it doesn't really say anything about it's not like his first pip where it's like, if we only spend half, then we only need half. It's basically still getting the full amount, as if it's basically assuming that it will reach that, not the threshold. The 10% goes above that, but it's still hitting that max. And then there's the 10% threshold on top of that, which accounts even further for volatility. But there's no like minimum, right?
Yeah. I don't think we
That
should be on him for that one. I think we should
well,
let that one go.
it's inconsistent, because he's saying he, like, even in one spot, let's up at the top, it was uh
Does he just give us a range? Would that solve everything? 90
If-
to 110.
I think this is the kind of paragraph that we need to take to the foundation and ask them to give us their opinion.
What are we asking their opinion for?
Well, for my problem with it is it's inconsistent. There was a part earlier in the PIP where when I brought this up initially, where it said it will be, they'll be referencing the receipt for the amount, but that's not exactly true. That's only true if it goes if it ends up being over their €6,050 or whatever.
You're talking about the
And
print materials. It says costs will not exceed this budget and will be invoiced strictly based on the actual receipts and proven expenditure, up to the maximum amount.
yeah, so that to me reads like, okay, if they only spend $200, then they're only going to get $200. But that
Yeah.
is not what the specifications say. That's the problem I have. The specifications do not say anything like that. It says they're getting the full amount, and it's only if it goes over up to 10% that it will be reevaluated, not if it's under.
Bodhi, I was reading from the specifications in 4.2.
Oh, I was looking at the
To me, it looks consistent to me. He keeps saying up to, up to.
No, I'm saying in the cost section rather, not the specifications. The cost sections don't mention that being able to go under.
Under based on actual invoicing. Yeah. Section 8 at the very top. See where it says
Okay.
one-time costs based on actual invoicing? That tells me that he's only going to request disbursement based on what he's invoiced.
Okay. I would like there to be a okay, yeah.
I see what Buddy says, but because there's
it's
a
not very
subtotal,
obvious.
there's a subtotal that is €5,500, and then it says that plus the 10 Atlas buffer, 10% Atlas buffer, that is €553, and he's requesting the 6,078 with that 10 buffer. So yeah, I see what he's saying, that he's requesting that money with that 10% buffer added.
Yeah, but that's the part where he has to spell out his
It
entire
sounds like he's
cost.
kind of not requesting it though. Meaning
Yeah.
it sounds like he's earmarking it and
Right.
then he's going to request what was actually spent.
He's asking for approval up to that amount.
Yeah, he's earmarking that amount of funds and then he's going to request compensation based upon what his actual expenses were.
That what they are going to spend is €5,500, not €6,000, and they're asking for €6,000.
Yes. They're
right?
requesting 6,000, up to 6,000. So if they only spend
based upon invoicing.
Right, if they only spend 5,000, then what I read from this is that he's going to invoice 5,000. If he spends 6,778 euros because he actually spent 10,000, he's saying he's going to eat that 4,000 and only request what has been approved.
He has no desire to get any upside off of the proposal, is how
Right.
it reads to me.
Right, that's how it reads to me too. Now, if he requests 6,078 and his invoices only show $500 worth, okay, then we got a question for him. But nowhere in here do I read that he's going to request 6,078 euros, and I expect to see an invoice that matches that. You get what I'm saying?
I would like to onboard up to 10,000 Star Atlas new community members for $100,000 fixed.
He's requested for the maximum amount.
When you go to cost and resource allocations, you then don't see any up to. You see t-shirts, 110, 20 of them at 20 euros each. That's 2,200.
Yeah, but
yeah, it's saying up to, but then it's requesting the 110. It's saying up to 110. And
well,
then
that's what he's got to do.
We're arguing the semantics of what earmarking funds looks like versus actual funding.
I agree.
I believe what the proposal's doing is it's earmarking up to an amount of funds, and if it's not consumed, like by actual invoicing,
Yeah,
He's only asking to be compensated for what he spends.
I understand all that.
He just
My
wants to lay out like it looks like it could be this amount. So I want to secure this amount. And I'm only going to ask for ultimately whatever actually got spent on this.
Well, are they requesting the one that part that I didn't understand? Are they requesting any funding before the event, or this is all after with receipts?
All after.
All after. Okay.
Then
So
I
they're
think
gonna
I
swipe
think
the
that,
credit card and they're gonna wait for us to send the money and afterwards
easier.
based on invoicing is what it looks like.
Yeah.
well, that was one more thing that they should add into their timeline is when the funding comes in, because they didn't have that. But I would recommend that in their subtotal and their Atlas buffer that they also add the verbiage of up to based on receipts.
Yeah, one or two sentences clarifies the whole thing. I agree.
Yeah.
I think I understand the intent, but agreed. One sentence completely makes it clear that this is
Yeah.
how this works.
I guess I just
Yeah.
think it's crystal clear everywhere else in this pip. I don't think it's a mystery that that's what he's going for here.
Well, some people
And-
apparently do.
But if
do
it can
think it's a-
confuse several of our council members, it could probably confuse a couple of voters.
That's
exactly.
fair.
So
That's fair.
let's just add a sentence and be done with it. Bodhi brought up a really good point, though. We're not going to do this in multiple payments. It's one payment at the end with all of the invoices being submitted.
That's
We
easy
just
peasy, yeah.
Well, where does
but
it
that I
does
don't
it
know if
say
you-
that
yeah,
somewhere?
I don't think so. So we'll
That's
need
what
to
it
do-
needs to do. That's what I'm asking. That it needs to say what are we paying and when. Okay, whatever the receipts say at the end. Okay, easy enough.
Done.
Boom.
They'll need to add that.
Is that what you normally add in here? I don't think I've ever seen that in past sips. Pips,
Well,
sorry.
Only
There
about-
Well,
needs
we
to be an-
haven't. We haven't, and here we are in a pickle on Telegram in the group. So
Okay, got it.
cool. I think we beat that one to death. Conflicts of interest, none. The media creator is a community member and not part of the project team. Is being a community member a conflict of interest? I guess he put it in there. I wouldn't put none, but I would just cross out none and put the creator as a community member. But
I don't know what
I
this
don't know.
sentence means. The media creator is a community member and not part of the project team.
The guy doing the video is not Shaddix, VB, or Kaiwini.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the conflicts of interest would be who has the banner, like you said, and who is receiving the money for the video and photo editing.
I think they're
Who-
just saying it's not an automata employee. They could have worded it a little differently, but I think
Well,
they're just
even-
saying it's one of them. It's not a team member.
Well, even if it was a team, regardless, whoever, if it's a community member getting paid by way of the three people, I think that is a conflict of interest. And by the way, a conflict of interest isn't bad. You just have to state it. So I would
Yeah, I
encourage
agree. I
them-
just think it's the only reason they listed it is they figured it would be a conflict of interest if somehow a team member or automata person was like getting paid or funded like through this thing. And I think in their mind they were clarifying just to be like, no, this is all just us. But
Yep.
I agree.
but it is a community member, and that to me is a conflict of interest by
Mm.
by backdoor. It's just better to be open and transparent. I'm glad that we knew, because imagine if somebody finds out, oh wait, Signal is actually the one running the camera. What the hell? I thought we were hiring a outside third party, and versus if we knew that Signal was the one that was going to be doing it, we'd be like, oh, okay, well, cool, whatever.
It's
Alpha
always Signal,
drops.
always
I've been
Signal.
running every camera ever since the project started.
So I think that the conflict of interest needs to clear. I would just take out none. That's a simple fix to me. Earlier version, it says it builds on an already created pip 8. I don't know that necessarily needs to be in there, but I'm glad it is. That works for me. We'll just move on to deliverables. We're almost done with this one. So up to 110 t-shirts. Oh, he just goes through what we're gonna get. the long-term benefits, and he just put 3 of them, and that meets our criteria. So I think we went through it pretty good. I'm kind of glad we did it. Does anyone have any final feedback before they
No,
redo
I
it?
was filling up my rubric document just in as far as shape and form and what it needs to have. Everything checks on. So the only
Okay, and Lancer, you have some notes, and Bodhi, you have some notes. So I guess between all 3 of those, we can definitely get them the feedback.
Okay,
And
wait.
we can.
I
I'll
cut
send
out
it
there
to you,
for a
Bodhi.
second. So I have Bodhi. You would like clarification on the partner section and add up to based on receipts in section 8 for cost.
I had 4 notes. I just sent them to Drum. I don't know
Okay.
Yeah,
if
we
we gotta
don't.
go over.
No, we're not going to go over them. So you put yours in. Lancer's putting his in.
Wait, why wouldn't we go
Uh,
over them right now?
We literally just went over it in the video, and they're all written down.
Yeah, everything. I said everything already. I just put them into uh, a package to send to Drum for his review to them.
Okay, Signal, did you have any comments?
I think we should probably, for at least another 15 to 20 minutes, go through the up to language inside the proposal.
Shut up. Jesus Christ.
No, I'm good. I genuinely think it's a very good proposal. It's very straightforward. We're
Yeah.
funding some people so that they can promote Star Atlas at an event. It's about as clean of a pip as you can get, and its biggest advantage is it's not overly complex. There's not really a lot of theory crafting we have to do here.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I have no changes that need to be made.
Cool. I would agree with all of this. It's almost 3. We definitely don't have time to go over Steven Seagal's.
Yeah.
That one's a big one. So I guess next week we can put that on the agenda. We have a lot of people in the audience that I guess if nobody ends up talking during the open mic, we could potentially talk about some of these other things like formalizing the disbursement and the RFP to PIP process.
Oh,
What do you guys want to do
we
with
cut
those 2 action items?
we cut that out. We cut the second hour out last week.
Oh, so we're not going to have the council office hours.
we
Right.
can have a Q&A as long as it needs to be.
Right. That
Well,
part of us saving time was cutting out the last end and then doing PIP reviews every other week.
Yeah.
I'm not stuck on the time. I can keep going on it, but I do really quickly think that we should the two things I'd like to add to the knowledge base in terms of the PIP disbursements is we absolutely need to add that all disbursements are Atlas. There was a major problem with the Theo PIP because it specifically requested USDC. So it needs to be Atlas that they're requesting or Atlas denominated in another currency, which is exactly how it was written in this PIP. It said we are requesting X amount of euros paid in Atlas. That's fine. We just cannot allow a situation to happen again where it's requesting just euros or just USDC because it really messes it up. And then the other, and that's we have to add that in, and then I think we should also add in a disclaimer about price impact. Like we're not in control. Like if Atlas goes up, then congratulations, we don't expect it back. Like that's we hope that you hold Atlas and use it in the ecosystem, buy ships or whatever. But we just like we can't claw back extra if the price goes up. We can't bail you out if the price goes down. We need to add that in, make that very clear. And then to compensate for that, we need to. I think it would be who of us to give them a recommendation to add that buffer in just in the exact same way this pip did. I think that accounts for like 90% of the problems that we're gonna have. Just those three things. So I think that's like those are kind of low hanging fruit that'll take care of like almost everything, almost all the problems. Outside of like really extreme volatility events, which are honestly, I looked back in the price history, they're very rare. The odds of that happening are slim, but the odds of us getting hit by like a 10-15% hit is like pretty common. And I just want to like nip those long drawn out conversations with the authors about over 10% in the bud, but with those three items.
Cool.
Sweet.
Excellent. I don't think we announced that we were only going to do 1 week or a 1 hour thing anywhere, to be honest.
It's fine.
No,
We could.
nobody put it. But if somebody does have to duck out,
Fucking signal.
oh man, that guy. So if anyone
That
does have to
guy.
duck out, if they're like, at the lumberyard with their wife or something and
Yeah.
needs to like not be on a call,
I
I'd
I
say
gotta
anybody
duck out.
can.
Hey, some
Yeah,
of us
if you
are at the
guys,
lumberyard with our wives, and we're here anyway.
been there, done that. So yeah, I would say if anyone wants to duck out or needs to, since we agreed to the hour, go for it. But I personally, I'm going to be here. If anyone has more that they want to talk about, I saw Trevor, you're in the audience asking about funding an indie game. I think we'll be done with the meeting and then open it up to any of those questions. I'd be more than happy to hear from virtual or anybody. Shadow King, shout out, hello. I'm surprised you're here and not playing um, oh shoot, what's it called? I just been playing it all day. Hollow Sim. But yeah, I think the meeting's officially done, and if anyone wants to ask a question, unmute or type it in the chat if everyone's good with that. But yeah, feel free to move on. Thank you everyone for showing up. We'll see. We'll kind of maybe as a team we'll regroup later and see how we thought this went later in the week. Having this different
Buddy,
format.
so the working group's PIP is ready, I think.
Cool.
I never seen a PIP named the foundation so many times in my life.
Sorry, bro.
Jesus.
I didn't think it was going to be a problem because I had one line in there that said they could delegate all of it to us. but yeah, it's I can see why it definitely reads like it's putting a big request on them, but my intention was to say it was basically they can be a fallback to, put us in check or just go above us if needed. They have like that power, but we would be doing everything else other than that. But it doesn't really read that way.
Do you think we should just reintroduce it in ideas?
No, I think everybody's into it. I think it's such a subtle because the only difference is we'll have to be a little bit more strict when it comes to, because there isn't by removing the foundation, you're essentially removing the failsafe. If we were to push something out that could detriment the DAO or something like that, the foundation can't just step in and squash it
Well,
without our permission.
okay.
So we just have to be a little bit more like, not that we wouldn't have been careful to begin with, but we just have to have a little bit. We have to be even that much more strict to just know for sure that like this is relatively inconsequential. That's the only difference.
Yeah, I think it's a very benign PIP, to be honest.
It is.
Because there's nothing that people can do with this PIP that they cannot do without it. The only difference is that this is just some validation and some coordination with us, to help them the best we can, on a certain
Yeah.
goal that it's for the benefit of the project or the community.
Odie, he's basically calling your pip boring.
Well, it's definitely
Hey,
boring.
that's all right. That's
didn't
all right.
say
It's not meant to be like, if people, want a bunch of money to do something crazy, like they're gonna have to make a whole nother pip for that. It just
Yeah.
covers like it's just easy for the stuff that should be easy. Like there should be a process for people that just want to do something simple to just get a group together and kind of have a little spot where they can coordinate amongst themselves and all that good stuff. So
Yeah, like a little SegWit spot.
Hmm.
This was actually created just to bring Segwit into the world.
You know that I feel the love. I appreciate that.
A DAO cubicle.
I gotta go here in a few minutes.
That's fine. Leave whenever you need to. I did have Trevor. I don't. You asked, can individual also get funding for an indie game dev? Um, I would say everything's possible. Feel free to either type more or unmute and ask specific questions. But yeah, like Lanzer put in the discussion, you can submit a thread in the PIP ideas channel. That works really, really well. You can start to get some feedback, but technically, yes. Do we have an ecosystem fund that is under a certain dollar amount? Yes, but it's not entirely out of the question that um, the group at large could fund something like that.
And it should be something Star Atlas related as well.
Yeah, it would have to be. I don't think you'd get any traction if it wasn't.
Yeah, just a reminder that we don't make any decisions. We help give feedback with the form and make sure that it has all the requirements, but it's the DAO holder, policy holder, the one that decide in the end.
Bolus is 5 cents, guys. If you're not buying it, you're crazy. Look at all the money that's flying around this place, And for very little money, you could get a very big vote in Star Atlas. Give us some token utility.
Quiet virtual's here. You might buy more.
Act now before it all leaves.
Billion.
You're cutting out.
Use case right now is virtual just buying Bolus.
So buying police.
Someone has to, right? Not all heroes wear capes.
Wait, I'm
That's true.
lost. What was the thing about Virtual and Polus? Is
Is
he a
anyone
Polus?
in here besides me and Shadow King? And I saw drum you were playing. Is anyone playing Holosim?
I want to. I just haven't had the time
I
yet, but I
tried.
plan on it.
I couldn't get out past the freaking the first goal or whatever. I was like stuck.
Because you didn't claim
you're stuck?
the people in your daily quest, so you didn't have any crew.
Yeah, I couldn't get any crew. That was the
Yeah, it was-
problem. I didn't know where to go. I was chipping away at it and it was doing something, but then I just was like, by the time I made any progress, I was like burned out. I think it's a little, I think it's got it's definitely got potential though, for sure. Like teaching
Yeah,
you exactly what you need to do. I feel like it's a little buggy. At least it was. I tried day one, so I imagine it's better now.
they
Yeah,
released an update either
I
last
played day
night or
one. Yeah, I played day one and it was fun, but I've been busy with Sage.
I've been playing it. I'm level 23 now. It says I'm number 23 global, but that keeps changing. It is fun. It's different.
It still doesn't show my rank, man. It puts me at. Wait, it showed me yesterday I was at 14. Now I'm back at 10. I don't even know the hell I'm at now.
Yeah, the leaderboards are definitely broken. I keep jumping. Like I'm 23 now. I was like 8 or something or 9 yesterday, and yeah, it's definitely broken. But
But
it's pretty.
you can attack, right? There's like combat
Yeah.
in there. That's cool.
Yeah, I went I went and blew up Rado Doom's ship the other day. I stole his
Yeah, he was
diamonds.
blaming me, huh?
Yeah, it's
Is it-
actually like the combat part of it. There's not many people doing it right now, but it's definitely like you start getting that adrenaline rush when your ship is, you're subwarping and warping and trying to make sure you don't run out of fuel and hoping nobody jumps out and jumps you as you're jumping the other guy. The combat part is actually pretty fun. I mean, you'd have to get up higher level to do it, but it's pretty cool.
Is it
10,000
fast
air
paced,
bikes.
the combat
Dude.
aspect, or is it
Oh,
sweaty?
What I noticed in the beginning, I made more money than everybody else in the beginning, but now I'm like down to 15 Atlas.
Hmm.
Because I have over maybe 4 tips, and the rest are all like combat ships already.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't say it's necessarily fast paced, but like I had my combat um, crew going out, and if the ships nearby are bigger than your power, you have to like sneak in and out, and then like with the warp cooldowns, you I think you can get down to like 30 seconds for ship it, or I can't remember which actual ship, but fast paced, no, but it's fast enough, and it definitely gives you that adrenaline rush.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know if people are just like coming in and like drive by shooting, just like before you can even react, like you know.
Star Atlas
Yeah,
GTA.
there's some of the testers on there with capital ships they're like the cops, the police. They just go around and sometimes they're blowing up innocent people. But if it's just like me versus Shadow King or um, anyone else, that's the fun part.
Feels like a crazy thing to ask, but I guess it's kind of obvious. Is HoloSim just way better than Sage at this point?
Yes, 1,000 times better. It's more buggy, but once you know how to get around the bugs, it is it is fun. But it's also like crafting takes no time at all. All of the costs, like fuel and R4 costs, are way different, and the crew cost is different. So there are a lot of differences. But yeah, I've been really enjoying it.
Yeah, that game is not a Star Atlas. It's free and it works. It's not a Star Atlas.
Yeah, so if anybody's listening to this who hasn't tried things, not only if you just want to play a fun game, like not only is HoloSim free, but it's actually better than than the game that you would pay to play.
Yeah, and we're all essentially still beta testers for them at this point playing it. But
By the way, I'm gonna be out of office next week. I'm gonna be out in vacation, so I'm not gonna be around for the next meeting.
Have a good vacation.
Thank you.
cool. All right. Does anyone else have any questions or anything? I don't want to just hang out to hang out, and I don't mind chatting. But
Has
unless
anyone ever
somebody,
changed a battery out of a 2013 Ford C-Max? Asking for a friend.
What are you getting up to over there in the lumberyard, man?
Dude, man, it's a day over here. It's got to be something all the time.
You run your own lumber yard? Down.
I'm telling you, like, I didn't even know. Like, in the back of these cars, they put the battery under the floor in the trunk. So
Down.
it's especially fun when you've got a vehicle that's packed full of stuff because you're trying to move.
Oh
Lumber.
yeah.
He's trying to move lumber.
Lumber,
Damn.
lumber. I barely knew her.
all right. Well, unless
All
anyone
right,
else
guys.
has something.
Peace.
No, I'm good.
See y'all.
All right. Bye, guys. Thanks for coming.